worst of circumstances, if your faith is right, God can turn things around. So it is going to be through a death experience that Jesus is able to teach this tonight, that he's able to show them this. So get out of your mind that the apostles had everything together just because Jesus signed them up to follow for 3 years. No, we don't have it all together. We learn as we go. The old saints said it better. They didn't understand process theology. They said we'll understand it better by and by. That means the revelation. As revelations come, I understand better. So Jesus is very close to 3 people outside the apostles: Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. Mary, Martha, and Lazarus are brother, 2 sisters, 1 brother. They live in his house in Bethany. And Jesus is away from Bethany, at least 25 miles. He's out preaching, he's out teaching, he's dealing with confrontation, he's getting things ready. So word reaches Jesus that this is the same word to Jesus that Lazarus is sick. So this is a setup that, because it's the only place in the Bible that somebody sends a message to Jesus that somebody's sick. Normally he's on the scene with the sick person. The only other time you can get a parallel is over in the Gospels, where in Mark or John as well, where the ruler of the synagogue says, "Come down here before my son dies." He said, "All you got to do is speak the word and he'll live." And Jesus' word actually healed the guy. He never went to his house. So they sent Jesus a message. Now how do we modernize? They send him a message. When we are in trouble, we need to send Jesus a message. When we are messed up, we don't know where to turn, give word to Jesus, "I need you to show up in my situation." So they send this message over to Jesus that Lazarus is sick. Now, Jesus does not move immediately. It would appear that Jesus delayed. And then the thing gets worse, because word reaches Jesus that Lazarus is dead. But Jesus doesn't use the term dead. He says to the apostles, he is sleeping. So now I'm going to show you, I said, just because they are the apostles don't mean they understand. There are 3 times you hear from Thomas in basically in John. You hear from him on this occasion. You hear from him in the farewell discourse when Jesus said, "Where I'm going, you can't go." And he said, "Well, where are you going?" And then Thomas wasn't there when Jesus made one of the resurrection periods. He said, "I'm not going to believe unless I put my hand in his side." So we know Thomas is a study in faith because he lacks great faith. So Thomas said, "Well, Lord, if he is asleep, he's doing well." Right in your text, you know, we need to keep on doing. We can go to the flea market today, because if he's asleep, he's going to be doing well. So Jesus has to spell out to them that he's dead. Okay, so that's the crisis. So if I told you at the beginning of this lesson tonight that Jesus' whole purpose here is to prepare them for what's going to be next, but he has to take them through something, he's got to increase their what? Faith. But now it would appear, how can you increase their faith and this guy is what? Dead. So then we know, when we ask God, how many of you tonight have asked God to increase your faith? Let me see your hand. Now, that's a good thing, because I pray that prayer every week in my own life. When we ask God to increase our faith, we don't get the right to tell him how to do it. Sometimes when you ask God to increase your faith, he will put, and you'll see someone on my sheet here where I talk about that sometimes it is through, when he wants to get glory out of something, it's through a very uncomfortable circumstance. All the things I had to go through with my doctor yesterday, it was very uncomfortable. But that was necessary for them to find out what was wrong with me and give me all these drugs for the next 3 weeks. So, when we ask God to increase our faith, the exercise through which he puts us through might not be comfortable. And it may make us question God. Because when Mary and Martha sent this message to Jesus, it says the one whom you love. Look at it, doesn't it say that in the text? the one whom you love. So if you love me, why don't you show up now? Because after all, we say that love is what love does and not what love says. And after all, it is in the book of John that it says, for God so loved the world. But Jesus doesn't show up. Lazarus is dead. So no one knows what Jesus is going to do but Jesus. Sometimes God keeps the revelation away from us until the time is right. Sometimes we do not get the lesson until the story is over with. So now they think that they're going to go back to Bethany, which is 25 miles away, for a funeral. Everybody believes it's going to be a funeral. Mary and Martha believe it's a funeral. The people have already lined up to bury him. And guess who else believes that? The 12 apostles. Thank you. They believe it's going to be a funeral. So it looks like, there's no look like, he's dead and it's over with. So Jesus finally shows up. But guess how many days? Can anybody tell me how many days have passed? 4 days. From the time Jesus got the word, there were 4 days. Let me deal with the 4-day part first, as I continue to work the lesson. The Jews had a belief in both Old Testament and New Testament times that a person, when they died, that their spirit hovered near or above the body for 3 days. And that it was possible for the spirit to re-enter the body so the person could come back to life. This is one of the reasons that the Pharisees tried to, you will hear this through the theological service called the swoon theory. They argued Jesus could not have possibly been dead. He was in a comatose state and he came back because they used a 3-day application. But when you look at the Jewish calendar and the time that Jesus died and the time period, it really exceeds 3 days. He rises on the 3rd day. But that's a whole different theological. That's not what I'm trying to teach tonight. So what happens? Jesus waits to the 4th day. Can anybody tell why you think he waits to the 4th day? Yes, Lewis.
Well, in theory, if he's within 3 days, the spirit can re-enter the body and then come back alive. And the 4th day, they're going to believe that he was truly dead.
He's dead. He got it. So this is why Jesus waits till the 4th day to show it. Because by all medical and spiritual laws, Lazarus is dead. So he shows up, he goes to the house. And one of the sisters said, Lord, had you been here. Now she doesn't do it as a rebuke. She said, had you been here, my brother Lazarus would not have died. Well, she believed that Jesus could have kept him from dying. And she's right. She exhibits a great level of faith pre-death of her brother. She said, had you been here? And Jesus says, I am what? You get one of his 7 items. I am the what? Resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me shall not. She says, here it just shows you that Mary and Martha went to Sunday school. Because they said, well, we know in the resurrection he's going to get back up. Jesus said, you talking to the resurrection. Sometimes the Lord does not show up until there's nothing else we can do ourselves to fix our situation. Sometimes he doesn't show up until it is a complete human disaster. Sometimes God does not come into the situation where you can see, feel, or touch him or experience him until it looks like it's too late. So right now it looks like what? Thank you for showing something. The door is closed. That's very good. The door is closed. So people are crying. They're carrying on. Everybody is worked up. And Jesus asked what would seem to be a crazy question. He says, where did y'all bury him at? So first thing they're going to think about, he want to go out to the grave and pay his last respects. We cannot put God in a straitjacket and think he's going to act the same way in every situation at the same time. No matter what your relationship is tonight, God might not repeat the same way that he did, the same miracle for you that he did perform the last time, because he may give you a different miracle. He may move in a different way. So he takes a moment before he goes out. He continues to minister to Mary and Martha. Now, what do you think is going through the mind of the 12?